Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Let me tell you something. There's absolutely zero motivation for Terence Crawford to get back in that ring unless he's fighting Canelo. And for Jaron Ennis, there seems to be all the motivation in the world to try to become undisputed at 147. But since he can't get a fight, zero motivation to go forward with his career. Because things aren't going the way that he thought they would go once he signed with Eddie Hearn. Now, what I think has happened here with Crawford and Ennis is I think Crawford, he has options, but Crawford has earned. Look, man, there's not much for him to accomplish. Anything that he could accomplish, he's done. Now it's just a matter of him, I guess, possibly going on to make history. I mean, become a 3-time undisputed. I don't know, but he's kind of been there, done that. Do you want to do it again? I don't know, man. But when you take a look at it, right, for Crawford, he has opportunities. Boots does not have many opportunities because nobody wants to fight him. But Crawford is stubborn. Boots isn't. Boots is wanting to fight. Crawford just wants that Canelo fight. Now, somebody pointed out, they talked about Crawford. Said he had over 40 rental properties, multiple businesses, and they say the kind of money Crawford, what they say as far as the kind of money Crawford has made and makes outside of boxing, it doesn't make sense for a guy who has that kind of financial stature to come out here and wake up and decide to train and go get punched in the ring for next to nothing. And that helps to kind of explain why Terence Crawford is moving the way he's moving at this point. It's got to be something to motivate him because money ain't the motivating factor, right? I think that it's not the only motivating factor. There's got to be something else to it. And I think the opponent has a lot to do with why Terence Crawford will get up to go train. If you tell Terence Crawford, look, man, we got Virgil Ortiz. What, Terence Crawford going to get up and go train to do what? Beat somebody he knows he can beat? Beat somebody that the fans already know he can beat? If you tell Terence Crawford, look, man, we got a fight lined up for your Errol Spence rematch, man. We're going to pay you $50 million, man. Okay, the money's cool, but you want me to get up and wake up and train hard to go and do what? Beat somebody I know I can beat? Okay, I'll get the money, but that ain't really motivating me because I don't need it. So you got to tell Terence Crawford that he got something in front of him that's going to motivate him. And money is just part of it, but I really think that's maybe 10, 20% of what it's really going to take to get Crawford to get up out of them silk pajamas and get his ass back out there in the training camp to go get punched in the face. And a Canelo fight is what it is, especially since that's what he's been focused on. It's like I said, if you a guy out here and you say, you know what, man, I have a craving for, let's say, fish, right? You want some snapper. And then somebody come and give you a plate full of fucking deer meat. You like, I'm hungry, my man, but I don't want no goddamn deer meat. I think the same thing with Crawford. Like, yo, I want to scrap with Canelo. Now y'all want to give me, Fundora? You don't want that shit. So when you look at Jaron Ennis, Jaron Ennis want to fight everybody. He wants to prove himself. He's like, look, hey, look at me. I'm over here. It's like Kanye West when he was over there hooked up with Rockefeller and was thanking everybody, hey, look at me. I can rap mayonnaise-colored bins. I push miracle whips. And they were like, okay, cute. That's how they're doing Jaron Ennis. Everybody like, oh, okay, you can fight. Oh, okay, cute. But they ain't really letting this man come out here and get his opportunities. And Eddie Hearn, I think, is dropping the ball because I don't care what no one says. Eddie Hearn got all the dough in the world. That man, he got money coming out of his ass. With these fighters, especially a guy like Ennis, obviously, they did what they had to do to build up his record, right? We keep talking about inflated records in boxing. There's one fighter in particular that people shred all the time. I don't agree with it, but they shred him all the time. That's Deontay Wilder. He 40-something fights at tomato cans. He never fought anybody. Look at the people he fought. They don't want to give that man no credit. It's only now he's losing because he's finally fighting real fighters. They don't want to give that man no credit. From Molina for Brazil. Don't give him no credit for nobody. No one he fought, man. Gerald Washington, Spilka. Nobody's looking at where those guys were racking stacked across the sanction. Nobody's been water fought him. They give him zero credit. And when you're looking at Jaron Boots Ennis, they're kind of doing him that way. But I think people definitely recognize with Jaron Boots Ennis, there's some power there, there's some athleticism there, there's some skill there, there's some speed there, there's some mental toughness there, there's some resiliency there. There's a fucking problem here with Jaron Boots Ennis. And his colleagues recognize it too. That's why they don't want to fight him. But Eddie Hearn should put the money up. We all know when a fighter starts out, most of these promoters lose some money on these guys, but it's a sacrifice to build them up. So when they land the big fights, the promoters start to, to recoup some of their loss and eventually go on to get in the green. And I think Jaron Boots Ennis, to me, is worth the risk, the financial risk. But obviously, I really believe something happened up there in Philadelphia where Eddie Hearn said to himself, okay, he may tell us one thing, Jaron Boots Ennis, it was a massive turnout. Jaron Boots Ennis is a star, and the place to make the fights where the fighters can get paid the money they want. They got to fight in Philly. We made money hand over fist. That's all bullshit. Was it sold out? I don't know, man. They give so many tickets away and shit. Did they make huge money on that? I don't know. I have a feeling that maybe Eddie Hearn didn't make the kind of money he was expected to make. And that's why Eddie Hearn is like, look, I'm already in the red. I really can't go beyond X amount of dollars on Boots. But I think he should do it. And go ahead and get Boots the opportunities. But you look at where Boots is right now, look where Crawford is right now. Fuck it, fight each other. I really believe, to me, Terence Crawford, if he's gonna fight Canelo, I can understand not fighting Boots. But if Crawford's gonna fight a Ryan Garcia, which I don't think he will, but let's say he would fight a Ryan Garcia or a Virgil Ortiz or a Erickson Lubin or a Fundora. Crawford's in a position where he can sit back in and say, you know what, I want to fight Boots. Give Boots the opportunity. If you're going to lose to somebody in a fluke type performance, lose the Boots. See, if you look at Canelo Alvarez and David Benavidez, I think if Canelo would have given David Benavidez the opportunity to fight him a couple years ago, and Benavidez would have beat him, right? We would have had 2 years of Benavidez growing his profile and continuing to run with the momentum he gained off of a Canelo win and essentially building the next superstar in boxing. With Boots Ennis and Crawford, if he can clip Crawford, who's already seemed to have one foot out the door into retirement and being back out there in Omaha, Nebraska with all his properties and catching bluegill and shit, you might as well give the opportunity to Jaron Boots Ennis so he can, if he can beat you, which is a tall task, but if he can beat Crawford, then he can use that and take that momentum and run with it. And now we can continue to build Jaron Boots Ennis instead of one of the next big stars in boxing. And I don't want to see what happened to Jaron Boots Ennis, kind of what happened with David Benavidez. David Benavidez is in no man's land. That man is out here with the light heavyweights now. Canelo screwed him. And I think that these fighters can do what they want, but I think that's horrible. And I think about me getting ready to retire. Fighting's different. But when I was getting ready to retire, I had, especially when I left from Okinawa, Japan, I had people in there. And it was not easy, but I had to turn the reins over to other people. And I had to take my time and get them up to speed on everything that I was doing to be like, here, it's on you now. And then I went off to finish out my last 3-4 years. And Terence Crawford's case, if you're about to retire, because I knew I was going to be retiring, right? If you know you're going to retire, why not come and be like, all right, look, it's boxing, it's different now. I wasn't getting punched in the face. Let me give you the opportunity. Especially, right, and we're all adults here. I'm going off what Crawford said. When Crawford, according to Crawford, right, now these aren't my words, him and Errol Spence, when he was trying to make that fight, this is what Crawford said about talking to Spence and about the $25 million for him, $25 million for Spence, and how Crawford had this person who wanted to put up the money, didn't worry about if the event was a success or a failure, They were both going to get $25 million guarantees. And Crawford said, it was, brother to brother. And I was like, okay. Because everybody know I don't get caught up in race on this channel. Religion, nothing, but we just talk what it is, right? So I was like, okay, so Crawford wants to look out for Errol Spence, Two brothers came up, amateurs, pros, got to a certain point in boxing. You just don't see it happen. And look, let's make this money together and look out for each other. Okay, cool. If that was the case, Errol Spence did that for you, Crawford, right? But since you seem to be about to go the direction Errol Spence is going, why don't you come now and give the opportunity Spence gave you? Give it to Boots. That's what I think should happen. Because really, they should just fight each other at this point. Don't retire and take all of that with you, man, and then leave it. Just take it, and when you go, you just sit it aside, and nobody got an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Now, Floyd Mayweather exited boxing. Andre Berto came and fought Conor McGregor. We know Floyd was all about his money, but he fought some good fighters. But he didn't. He definitely wasn't fighting Keith Thurman. He definitely wasn't fighting Errol Spence. He wasn't fighting Terence Crawford. Floyd was like, shit, I'm going to retire on top, and I'm not going to let the sport retire me. Maybe this is Crawford saying, hey, look, I'm going to retire from the sport. I'm not going to let the sport retire me. If Errol Spence had that mentality, he would have never fought Crawford. And Errol Spence deserves all the credit in the world. All the credit in the world, man. That man, when you really sit back and look at it, see some of these people who are Crawford fans, they just always want to say they don't want to give Errol Spence his credit. Some, not all, some. That fucking Errol Spence in the car accident, man, and all that hard sparring, man, and hard fights he had, and for him to come and know there's something going on with him, and whatever the issues, just to know he was going into a fight he probably couldn't win. And that man went and fought. I mean, you got to give him credit. You got to give him credit. But ain't too many people built like Errol Spence. So that's why you got to give him credit. I can joke and talk all kind of stuff, but Errol Spence deserves credit. Let's see what Crawford is on this. Because Jaron Ennis, I really think he needs that. He needs to have somebody be like, you know what, fuck everybody. Let's fight. And who knows, if Eddie Hearn can get Jaron Ennis a fight against a good name. Let me tell you something. They were joking the other day on a live, but this is as real as I can be, and I agreed. Blair Cobb would be a good fight for Jaron Ennis because it's a notable name. Nobody knows any of these other fucking guys. Who knows Charles Conwell? Nobody knows Charles Conwell. Blair Cobb. Everybody knows Blair Cobb. Blair Cobb just beat goddamn Adrian Broner. Everybody knows who Blair Cobb is. Barrios, Stanionis, Norman Jr. Everyone knows who Norman Jr. now because his dad is out here making sure the world knows him. But the bottom line is, the Omaha native and Jaron Ennis, I just when I look at it, it's like their careers, there's so many similarities here. So many similarities between these two guys. As far as just them, their personalities, trying to get fights. And look at what Crawford did and accomplished. Still doesn't get any credit. Look at the position Boots is in. Even if he becomes undisputed at 147, the competition isn't really what people would consider great competition. And Boots is trotting along almost the same damn path as Crawford. Crawford might as well fight him, man. Because I think that would be the motivation. If no Canelo, I don't want this young gun to come and beat me. And for Boots, he probably got all kind of pent-up frustration. He probably like a man in prison who ain't got no ass in 5 years, and then he get released. And the first woman he come across is going to be taking it to the stupid. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what happened when he get his hands on Crawford, man. He's going to sit there, man, take it to the stupid in that ring and try to put the bing-bings on him because he's frustrated. Anyway, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all seven continents. I think them two can scrap, and I don't even think they need to be disrespectful to each other. I think real recognizes real, and I think Crawford realizes me fighting this guy is a real fight, and I think that would be the motivation Crawford needs to get in the ring, especially if Turkey Al-Sheikh pays that man big money. because then he has the motivation and he's got the dough. Canelo, we know if the motivation be there, the money may be bigger. But if Turkey Al-Sheikh does what I think he would and hits Crawford off at about 50 million, I think Crawford will get up and fight Boots. But if he doesn't understand why he does it, it ain't because he putting duck sauce on the fried rice, because he don't have to. Crawford's a smart guy. He did like Mayweather, made smart business decisions. And he chilling in the breeze. And I'm in the breeze too. Keep cool.